Give the gift of Rev Voice this Christmas. Rejoice with Rev Voice when you sign up and enter to win 12 days of giveaways, including a 2015 Jeep Wrangler from Bahamas Bus and Truck.
An outspoken PLP member of Parliament lambasting government's new immigration policy. A man shot in Union Village. The Commissioner of Police says international crime warnings on the Bahamas are all wrong. A web shop owner talks expansion in 2015, plus why the cost of oil is dropping but your electricity bill is not. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. Marco City MP Greg Moss is slamming the rollout of government's new immigration policy. Moss, who has been outspoken on a number of government initiatives, said something should be done to protect those who have been in the Bahamas for years, especially those who have been making a contribution to society. Kyle Joaquin has more.
The government's new immigration policy has gained a lot of attention both locally and internationally. To some extent, both the opposition and the DNA have rallied behind the government in support of this new policy. But today, one of the government's own, Marco City MP Greg Moss, says the policy did not go far enough to protect the rights of those who, although they may have came here illegally, have made the Bahamas their home. The government's new immigration policy took effect on November 1st, and since then, hundreds of illegal foreign nationals have been rounded up in various locations, including homes and businesses. The roundups have shed some negative light on the Bahamas, particularly after images of immigration officers carrying children began to circulate. Moss agrees that in being a nation surrounded by water, border protection should be an aggressive initiative. However, recent foreign nationals and those who have been in the Bahamas for many years, he said, should be treated differently.
Most Bahamians do not accept the idea that such persons should ever have citizenship. That's been my experience, but most Bahamians do accept the idea that the adults falling within that category should be regularized, should have the right to work and reside, so as to protect them from being the victims of unscrupulous persons within our country who threaten them because of their insecure status.
Moss says for the most part, you can tell the difference between illegals and their children.
I'm looking forward to when we get to the point, and I hope it's sooner rather than later, of articulating a policy which allows for the transitioning of persons who have been here and who are integrated into our societies, not new arrivals, not new immigrants, but persons who by and large, culturally, nationally, and for a long period of time have been integrated into our country, and their children to be regularized in some way.
At one point, U.S. Congresswoman Daphne Campbell called for cruise ships to boycott the Bahamas because of the new policy. Moss says every country faces this issue, but he said the policymakers of the Bahamas must remember that the world is watching. Moss says given the country's most recent census, which shows that there are over 40,000 people who have entered the Bahamas illegally, getting rid of these people would mean getting rid of a huge chunk of the nation's population.
When we talk about people who were born here, whose parents have been here for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, who are integrated into our society and who are indistinguishable from you and I, except if they choose to speak in another dialect. We're talking about something fundamentally different from that, and I think we have to approach that in a very different way.
Moss said when he gets a chance, he will address the issue in the House of Assembly. Reporting for NB12 Weekend, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
A man was shot as he was standing outside his home through Union Village this morning. The incident happened at around 10 o'clock. When MB12 arrived on the scene, EMS personnel were rushing the victim to hospital. It was unclear what the man's condition was up to news time. Eyewitnesses say the man was suffering from gunshot wounds to the stomach and the neck. Residents identified the man as Troy and described him as hardworking, whom they say never bothered anyone. Police are investigating. Well, Police Commissioner Alison Greenslade condemning a recent article that labeled the Bahamas as the worst Caribbean cruise port of call. The article, posted on Yahoo Travel, cited the numerous crime warnings issued by the U.S. State Department. Greenslade said the country's image and reputation is at stake, and he cannot allow others to spread what he called false statements about the Bahamas.
They're wonderful young police officers. They deserve our support and our commendation, and I believe they will continue to do a good job for us. There are issues that our commissioner cannot get involved in respect of the cruise industry. Those are matters to be handled at another level. But I'm not prepared to sit by and allow the country to be hurt by false allegations of Nassau City being unsafe and a bad place for visitors to come. It is a falsehood, it is untrue, and I am very, very disappointed that people that know better would put those types of rumors out there.
Greenslade says he recently met with several stakeholders within the downtown area to address the crime issue, and no one seemed to have a major complaint with that. He said he's disappointed to read reports in the media warning tourists of the city center when he considers it to be a safe area.
If these were significant issues to cause us consternation, my colleagues and friends at the IACP level, our colleagues and friends here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, in law enforcement, both local and foreign, I'm certain would bring those to my attention. And so I made the appeal again. I might be missing something. Maybe it was underreported. I don't know. But I'm available, members of the press and public, to hear from anyone who can bring the information or evidence to me to prove or suggest to me that the city center of Nassau is unsafe.
According to Commissioner Greenslade, 243 CCTV cameras have been placed in the downtown area, and so far has led to the closure of many cases.
We have discovered and solved lots of crimes since the implementation of the CCTV cameras. And so somebody's watching you, and those people are police officers.
In other news, a local web shop operator says a lot of things are going to change in his company come 2015 once it obtains its web shop license. Davon Jones, president of Fantasy Games, says once they get past the licensing and compliance aspect of regularization, the first order of business is to expand.
The next step after that is to be able to see what the guidelines are going to be for expansion, what the government will allow, and then we'll roll out our plan. We have some things that we intend to do with our product within our footprint that we currently have that we feel are going to be very exciting for the customers, as well as some things that we intend to do in the community to increase our presence in the community and just touch a few more people.
Fantasy Games has 14 locations with a total of 64 employees. Tourism Minister Obi Wolchcombe has already stated that 10 web shop companies have settled back taxes for the period between July 1st and November 24th, 2014. Those back taxes totaled some $5 million. Jones confirmed to MB12 that his company is one of the 10. He said although Fantasy will have to pay a lot of money for the entire regulation process, it's something his company is willing to do to remain in the game.
At the end of the day, how I view this is that for somebody to have structure, it has cost. And for us to be regulated, it would require some level of commitment from us to, just to support it. The only thing that we could ask is that, the same level of enthusiasm of tax collection is also reciprocated in support of the industry and moving it forward. We happen to employ a lot of people, and we want to develop these people and to be able to do new things in the economy. So that's the only thing we can ask.
The tourism minister previously noted that the government will probably grant only 8 licenses. Jones said he's confident his company will meet all the requirements to get a web shop license, as he has already seen the RFP document and what it will entail. He added that a lot of his company's efforts over the next few months will be aimed at supporting education and building communities.